Hey y'all, hey, we back for another episode of SISTAS. We're on season 8, episode 11, entitled Breathe. We're just going to jump right into it. Robin, at the end of last episode, Andy pretty much read Robin his rights and let her know, like, yeah, Fatima, she didn't snitch on Fatima, but who else told her? Like, yeah, I heard what you had going on down at the office, and I'm coming back to work to reclaim what's mine, because I'm not finna sit up in this house like Rapunzel. And so Robin is trying to convince Andy that he only wants the best for her, and she's asking him, like, how is keeping me cooped up in this castle the best thing for me? Like he told her and Fatima, it's all about the optics, and if she's gallivanting around the office, she doesn't look like the girlfriend that's concerned about her fiance. She just looks like she's going on with her life. And she's like, well, that's a risk I'm willing to take at this point. I'm headed on back into the office and I'm not dealing with it. And so to Agent White and the FBI, he doesn't want her to look like she's not fazed. But she's like, listen, again, that's a risk I'm willing to take. So she ain't having none of what he's saying. He wants her to consider how her actions are. He also wants her to consider how her actions are making the law firm look. That's going to spin the block by the end of the review, by the end of the episode, and we'll talk about it once we get to that point. How's it going to make the firm look? And she's like, which actions? Do you mean the impeccable record of performance that I have? Them offering me partner? Me bringing $1 billion client to the table? Which one of those actions is bringing such shame and mar to the record of the law firm? Which one? Since we clocking my information, right? He tells her that the partners won't be able to stand by and just watch her get wrapped up in scandal after scandal. And then in the passion of low-key reprimanding her and telling her she's damaged goods and a risk for the company, he is gazing into her eyes and basically trying to soften her approach and tell her, you know, I really wish the kiss had happened, and ask her for permission for a kiss. And he admits that there's something magnetic about being around her every time he's near her, and he wants to just throw his tongue down her throat every time he's near her. And for the sake of professionalism, he has been keeping himself together. He's been fighting the feeling, but he'll bypass all of that professionalism if he gives her permission in this moment. And Andy's looking at him like, here you go trying to gaslight me. Here you go trying to bypass everything I just told you, everything I feel, and I ain't with it. I'm still headed into the office to do what I need to do, like I said. And he's doing everything in her power to keep her from going back. He's like, okay, cool. You going back to work? Can we expect you next week? She was like, no, sir, I'm headed to work today. He's like, the day is almost over. Don't care. Going into the office. I said what I said. And then finally putting her foot down and stop letting these men just overtake her and tell her which way to go and how to jump. It won't last because it's Andy, but she gets a hand clap of praise in this moment. Okay. Jordan is at the police station kind of pacing back and forth, just waiting for Penelope because she's back there getting interrogated by Agent Watt, so to speak. And she don't have a lawyer. She's just in there running her damn mouth. And he's getting antsy and he wants to know, like, what's taking so long? And we got some random little beat cop that trumps up all of the recent drama as it relates to Jordan and Penelope. And she tells him that Jordan, him, and Penelope, tells Jordan that him and Penelope have been the talk of the town, and Andy as well for the last few days. And so now his reputation is preceding him just by being tied up with Andy, and that's going to be a price that they're all going to have to pay at some point, I'm sure. All right, so Andy gets to the office, and some dude pops out of the shadow in the parking garage, and she turns around and he ducks behind a pole. So we're going to see throughout the episode with this, she's going to be like low-key trying to get away from him, whoever this white guy is that is trailing her. Now it looks like somebody that's going to end up serving her paperwork, just with how the show works. Like she might be getting served or something. But we'll see what happens because it's not going to happen in this episode. Okay. Tony and Danny are having dinner, and it's a sober function. She wants to try to interact and deal with Tony under sober pretenses, no influences, no liquor, no vape, no none of that. And Tony tells her, you know, I support this, even though she still went out and brought him his drink of choice, some beer. And she's like, you can have what you desire, but I'm not going to be partaking tonight. You know, Lucretia, the therapist, already told me like I need to kind of cope in a way cope that does not, cope in a way that does not involve these outside influences. So that's what I'm attempting to do. And he tells you, I don't need anything. Just want to go through this with you. So we'll see more of that. Gary's at the hospital, like having these people are physically restraining him, child. And he's claiming that they holding him against his will. Like he don't want to be dealing with this. And Hudson is at his wit's end with Gary's mess, right? And so Hudson goes on to tell him that he over here screaming for Andy, and he want Andy, and he needs her, but Andy is probably the one that's poked your ass up. Basically, like she's the one that probably stabbed you, so you need to settle down. He wants Gary to be happy that he's there and he's present and available. And Gary says that he will not. I will not believe you. I will not take that to be true. And then Hudson tells the staff, you know what? That's enough of that. We got, he's doing damage. He's a danger to himself and to others. Go ahead and sedate that ass. And so now they have to sedate Gary. But what we also see later on is that Hudson is on the phone talking to somebody. Some guy saying that they have a problem. And he excuses himself to take on the conversation. So I don't know what role Hudson, is he double-crossing Gary? I still don't believe he's the one that poked him up. My money's on Robin 100% now. But, it's some other shady stuff going on, I'm sure. Maybe trying to steal the business from up under him before the FBI can take everything. That's what I can deduce, but we'll see what happens. Andy shows up at the office, and Fatima is more than thrilled to see her, even though it's not in the good pretenses, because she walks in and she sees that the partners are at the end of a meeting, and Robert didn't even give her a heads up. And she told him she was going back to the office. And the meeting ends and none of them greet her. They're just walking past her, kind of shaking their head, all of these white partners. And then, of course, one of the partners stops and offers her a little feeble apology, saying that it's the best decision for the company. And, of course, Robin is the only person that has to break the bad news to her. And the bad news being that she's been suspended and she's put on temporary leave pending the outcome of her case with Mr. Borders. When that's settled, then you can probably come back to work. But even when you come back, your offer for partner has been rescinded as of right now. So all that work that she did and all she did to earn this partnership has been taken away yet again at the hands of a man. So here we are. And now it looks like Robin has been kind of conspiring against her in the background. I don't know. He looks kind of sad about the slap she put down on him. Maybe he has been speaking for her in the background, but up to this point, you haven't showed and proved that that's what you've been doing. So we're just going to say that you've been conspiring behind this lady back. Don't know why, just because she left you for Gary or perceived to have left you for Gary. Don't know, but here we are. Okay. Karen goes to Zach's house. And she's there to confront him about the list because he's been blowing her up like day in and day out, just sending her baby stuff and daycare recommendations and college, like just a whole bunch of administrative stuff that does not need to take place until the baby actually baby, however you want to describe it at this point, actually gets here. And she requests, and everybody's looking like, girl, we were on good terms. What's going on? Like, why are you barging in? So to speak, barging in. She was invited in. And she's like, listen, I tried to call. He didn't answer, so I need to go ahead and set some new laws. We need to reestablish some things. And so they're talking, and she also tells Fatima and Zach, like, and for you to request that I not feed my baby so that you and Fatima can take the baby in sooner, it's not gonna happen. Like, you about to piss me off with that one. Like, I know you excited to be a dad, but not at the expense of trying to cut me out the picture. Like, you need to settle down. And Fatima's looking at Zach like, well, now why in the hell would you go and do something? Why would you do that? Why would you ask that lady that? And anyway, we're talking about him double and triple texting her all day, and it's becoming overwhelming for her. And then the whole breastfeeding thing, that takes Fatima by surprise. And he thought that it would help get one of the babies off of her hands sooner. Again, that is rude and that's inconsiderate to a brand new mama. And Fatima has to remind him, like, hey, the breastfeeding babies will be near their mama at least for the first few months. We can work out an arrangement for us to go over and see that baby. I think Karen is willing to let us do all that. And he just doesn't want to be bothered with having to sit up in her house. He wants the baby in the house with him. Again, brand new first time mama. That baby's going to be stuck to her like white on rice. Settle down. Calm down. She not leaving the country. She's going to be at home trying to rest and recoup and all this. Calm down. Jesus. And so Fatima tells him that he needs to let Karen take the lead on this. And now he feels ganged up on and he feels attacked. Which I'm glad Fatima, did use her sensible mind to let him know, like, hey, everybody everybody calm down. Everybody settle down. Let this lady do what she needs to do with her babies, and we'll get in where we fit in. At least for now. It's not a permanent situation. There are ebbs and flows, and things need to work out after these babies get into the world. Settle down. Okay. Agent Watt tells Penelope that he wished she hadn't left protective custody that night, and he tried to protect her, but he couldn't. She did what she wanted to do, and he knows that she has all the reasons in the world to do what she could have possibly done. And all she knows is that she fell in love with a toxic, lying man, and she lied to herself for the sake of wanting to be in love and be in partnership so bad, and she blames herself for her actions. She didn't realize how unhealthy her attachment to Gary was, and less Gary, more of the idea of being in a relationship with somebody, until after she lost the baby. And even after that, she still had some sort of forgiveness in her heart for Gary. And we'll talk about the rest of this scene later, but it was disheartening to hear that this lady was willing to push aside every yellow, orange, red, and maroon flag just for the sake of having somebody. And that is I don't want to say weakness. Recurring theme when it comes to women sometimes, that we so desire to be in partnership and relationship that you will overlook an axe murderer because he's a good person. He got potential. Oh, I see the good in him, but he saw the good in somebody, so much good in Samantha that he chopped her in 3 pieces. Like, y'all got to detach yourself from these standards that are so high. Like, if you ain't married and got 2.5 kids and 4 degrees by now, you've accomplished nothing. You got to set your own standard, baby girl. Because if having a man, no matter what type of man, that old adage that the older lady be saying, having a piece of man is better than having no man. I don't be saying that when they say it in the song, because that's stupid as hell. Having a piece of man is better than having no man at all. No, be by your damn self. That's the moral. I'm sorry, I didn't got no way. That's the moral. Be by your damn self. But it was disheartening to know, like, even after this man caused her to lose her child at his hands, she still had some sort of forgiveness in her heart. Ma'am, Gary would have got poked in that office that same day. Like, what are you talking about? Like, whatever. All right. And so Agent Watch asked her, like, is that why you left protective custody? And she said, no, I was tired of hiding. Like, Gary was allowed to continue living his life, continuing to do exactly what he desired, while I was huddled up in protective custody as if I was a suspect, as if I had done anything wrong. So I wanted to go try to get my vengeance and free my mind. And she did admit to following him to the banquet hall. And then she admits that she doesn't know what happened after that. And then she admits to blood being on her hands. And then she asked the agent why. She was like, I must have did it, right? Again, you see this she loses her grip on reality because she's not really sure. Those meds had her in a state of mind where she ain't really sure about it. And so now this has been documented to a court officer, a court-appointed officer, probably recorded because you're in the interrogation room. So whether you did it or not, it is on camera. And we already know with the black and brown people, once you admit it, even if it's just to get up out of that interrogation room, you're going to have to fight from up under those charges. And had she had a lawyer or had she taken the recommendations from Andy, she wouldn't, and had not had such a sour attitude when Andy recommended somebody that could help her out, she wouldn't be in the situation. But when your head is as hard as a rock, you deal with what comes with it. So here we are. All right. We see the lab call Rich and tells him to come in later because something might be wrong with his sample. Who gives a damn? After dinner, things get a little hot and heavy with Danny, and and she is physically, you can kind of physically see in her body where she's kind of fighting against herself, trying not to give in and use sex as a coping mechanism. However, there was a mixed message because she gave in and then she stopped him, and then she gave in and then she stopped. And so it's kind of confusing to Tony and it's so confusing to him that they get into it, a little verbal altercation, right? And so he gets upset and he leaves, and she throws the flowers at him. He takes the wine. He was like, girl, you ain't gonna drink it no way. I'm leaving. Like, you don't know what you want. And then she pulls out that vape. Immediately back to that safety blanket of coping, right? That's her vape. And it appears you kind of see where she's not heaving, but she's struggling to breathe, and her chest is tight, and she can barely make it to her cell phone, and she's calling 911 because she thinks she's having a heart attack. Now, I doubt that it's a heart attack. It's probably a panic attack, or some kind of traumatic response, a physical response, because it looks like something I've had before. It's probably just a really, really, really bad panic attack, because she's doing the best she can to cope with these emotions, child, but sometimes, as much as you try, you just can't cope. You have a physical reaction in your body. It is what it is. Either way, she's calling it a heart attack for now. It's probably going to end up being a panic attack in my unprofessional guess. But now, you know, all of those emotional things are having a physical reaction on her body. And so we'll deal with that next week. We see Penelope being escorted out in handcuffs, and Jordan is running up to her like, girl, what's going on? Like, what's happening? And Agent White tells her she's under arrest for the attempted murder of Mr. Borders, and she just admitted to it. And he's looking at her like, girl, didn't I tell you to shut up? And so now he's got to spend his last to try to get her out up under this, because maybe she walked in after somebody else had did it, and that's how she ended up with the blood on her after Robin did it. Either way, we see Hayden. Hayden shows up at the hospital to see Gary, and he is talking cash cold crap to him. And then he takes, telling him how trash he is as a person. Of course, Gary is sedated, so he's not responding. And then he takes a pillow from up under his head and tells him, like, listen, you deserve this. Like, you deserve to be unalived. Now, of course, he's not going to go through with it. He's not. Hayden, he's a punk, but he's not that big of, he's a bigger punk than we know. He's not gonna go through with it because he's scary. Now, I wish he would have did, because that would have killed like two birds with one stone. Like, got Hayden up off the show and gotten Gary off the show, but then what would we be talking about? Right? Okay. So we see, for next week that Andy Macy's that dude that's following her. We see where Cameron's water breaks, and I think I saw online, I try to avoid online fodder until I make my video, but I did see a little blurb somewhere where it says Karen asked Fatima if she's knocked up, and maybe that's what triggered her water to break. Now, if it did break, these babies are going to be premature, so hopefully it's a false thing. I don't know. That's just my hope. And then we see Robin calling Hayden to tell him about Andy's indefinite suspension, and of course Hayden is going to think he's back on top now, and that's going to be even more annoying. Okay, so that has been season 8, episode 11. Things are picking up. We know we're gonna have a break for the holidays, I'm sure. Either way, let me know what you think about the episode. Let's talk about it in the comments. Like, comment, share, subscribe, or whatever it is that you feel like doing. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.